Yeah. Yeah, so I just read the recent chapter, chapter 1109, and I have no idea what's going on. If some guy told me, hey, you see, Luffy is going to turn into a god, he can literally shapeshift reality, and he's going to take Kizaru and one of the Kurosei members, and Luffy is going to mold Kizaru and one of the Kurosei members into a pancake or a pizza. With the one hand, he's going to mold Kizaru, with the other hand, he's going to mold the Kurosei member. And he's going to turn them into pancakes and throw them away. If some guy told me this turning Whole Cake Island arc, way before Nika was even a thing in the story, they are going to tell me that Luffy is going to turn into a god, Luffy can manipulate reality, and Luffy will take an admiral and turn the admiral into a pancake, I would tell the guy, you're insane, you're out of your mind. But no, that's actually One Piece. That's actually current day One Piece. I used to say a long time ago in my older videos that Luffy can literally manipulate reality. Gear 5 is the most broken ability in all of One Piece. And the One Piece fanboys always argued with me. They told me, you're wrong, chimp. You're wrong. You have no idea what you're talking about. Luffy can't manipulate reality, okay? Luffy can just turn things around him into rubber and he can shapeshift and get a little bigger, okay? You have no idea what you're talking about, okay? And then I would remind the fanboys that Luffy took a lightning bolt and threw it at Kaido. I mean, that is literally the definition of manipulating reality. And the fanboys usually responded with, Luffy is made out of rubber, that's why he was able to catch and throw lightning. Now, after this chapter, there is no question that the guy can literally manipulate reality around him. He literally took Kizaru and Saturn and molded them into pancakes. This is the most broken, hacked ability I have ever seen. In this chapter, it felt like Luffy is the strongest character in One Piece. Like he was when fighting against Kaido. Because Kaido was established as the strongest creature among all living things, the strongest character in One Piece. And Luffy managed to turn the strongest creature alive into a goofy cartoon character. And now Luffy pretty much easily took out Kizaru and completely humiliated Saturn. But this doesn't make any sense at all. Because literally, 15 chapters ago, Luffy fought against Kizaru and he was unable to defeat Kizaru. In fact, Luffy, using his Gear 5 abilities, was so tired from fighting Kizaru that he passed out. Luffy was no match for Kizaru, let's be fair. And he was passed out for 3 chapters? I mean, it's absolutely ridiculous. How can he go from fighting against Kizaru, not being able to take out Kizaru? He gets so tired from fighting against Kizaru that he passes out. And that was literally in this arc, 15 chapters ago, he got defeated. What the fuck? And now Luffy just easily takes out Kizaru and Saturn in half a chapter. The power system in One Piece, the power levels, whatever you want to call it, it's the most inconsistent shit I have ever seen. Nothing makes any sense. So here's what really happened. Oda wrote himself into a corner by turning Luffy into the Nika bullshit god. So now every chapter is going to be this way. At the end of Wano, Luffy easily defeated the strongest creature alive. Then, at the beginning of Egghead, he was unable to defeat Luffy. Luffy got right back up after fighting Gear 5 Luffy. Then Luffy fights against Kizaru and he gets so tired that he passes out. And now, at the end of the arc, somehow Luffy randomly became 1,000 times stronger. No explanation given at all, and he can easily toy with Kizaru and Saturn at the exact same time. And this makes sense to One Piece reviewers. Because let's be honest, they are not going to call this shit out. Lots of things in this chapter didn't make any sense at all. First of all, Luffy was holding Kizaru without Haki. And somehow Kizaru was not smart enough to turn into light to escape from Luffy. The guy can move at the speed of light. The guy can literally turn into light. What's stopping him from escaping Luffy's grasp? Can Luffy's reality bending abilities literally mess with other characters' abilities? Like, this isn't even explained. It's not even explained what the rules of Luffy's abilities actually are. Actually, nothing is explained. It wasn't even explained how he awakened, why he awakened, how awakenings work, why some characters get awakenings while others don't. Oda doesn't explain shit. Also, Kizaru was so strong that Luffy was unable to keep fighting. Luffy passed out. But now Luffy can hold Kizaru and turn the guy into a pancake. The powers are so inconsistent, it's ridiculous. How is it possible that Luffy broke every single bone in Kizaru and Saturn, literally flattening the two characters, and they are still alive? The only way they can still be alive is if Luffy can literally manipulate reality. We know that Luffy can turn into a reality bending god who can defeat anyone, and the only reason why Luffy somehow becomes 1,000 times stronger at the end of the arc is because if One Piece was consistent, then Luffy would have won against Saturn and Kizaru at the beginning of the arc, and the arc would have ended the moment Saturn and Kizaru arrived on Egghead. Now let's talk about why Kizaru and Saturn are in the position that they are, why they are getting absolutely destroyed by Luffy. Luffy was barely able to move right behind Saturn and Kizaru. And Saturn, with Kizaru, did absolutely nothing to stop Luffy. For 3 chapters, Luffy was unconscious, barely able to move. Then he slowly woke up, started eating food, but he was still on the ground, again, barely able to move. To be fair, Saturn tried to attack Luffy once, he was distracted by Frankie, but that was it. Saturn and Kizaru never tried to attack Luffy again. Saturn even noticed Luffy eating food and trying to slowly recover Gear 5 transformation. So he ordered a bunch of random marines to capture Luffy, which didn't make any sense because a chapter before that he ordered a Buster Call. The entire point of a Buster Call is to kill everything and destroy the entire island. Not once have prisoners ever been taken turning a Buster Call. But now, for the first time ever, Saturn wants to take a prisoner while the island is being bombarded. So apparently Oda forgot how Buster Calls actually work. Why didn't Saturn try to arrest Luffy instead of sending a bunch of random marines? I don't know. What stopped Saturn from arresting Luffy himself? Absolutely nothing. Why didn't Saturn try to kill Luffy? I don't know. What stopped Saturn from killing Luffy? Absolutely nothing. During chapter 1105, the only people left in the room were Saturn, Kizaru, a bunch of marines, Vegapunk, and Luffy. They had every chance imaginable to kill Luffy. They just didn't care. And that makes no sense at all. Right before Egghead arc, the Gorosei were shocked hearing that Nika has returned. They said that Nika is the greatest threat to the world government. And like what? 40 chapters later, all of a sudden they no longer care about Nika. The guy with the Nika's abilities is right behind you, like, do something, kill the guy. He can't even move right now, kill him really quickly. Nah, I'll allow him to recover, because why not? Since Saturn and Kizaru are stupid, I mean there's no other way to explain it. They are very, very stupid. Luffy recovered. And now the both of them are getting the ever-loving shit beaten out of them. I mean they are actually being turned into pancakes or pizza dough. I mean Luffy is just goofing on them at this point. The main problem with Luffy's Gear 5 transformation is that it's so inconsistent. You can't just turn your main character into a reality bending bullshit god and still have the story continue. Oda turned Luffy into a god in chapter 1043, and 70 chapters later, the story still keeps going. Usually in shonen, when the main character becomes insanely powerful, the series ends. But that's not the case with One Piece. 1000 chapters into the story, the main character randomly becomes a god that was never established, a god that can shapeshift reality, a god that sometimes is the most powerful being in the story, powerful enough to turn two strong villains into pancakes, but at other times is so weak it gets defeated by the same villain it tried turning into a pancake. A god that never existed. I mean, Sun God was mentioned 2 times before Nika, but Nika was never mentioned before Wano arc. That's just facts. A god that only fits into the story because the story has been retconned. Examples include the random dance from Skypeia that never had anything to do with Nika, but now all of a sudden is the Sun God Nika dance. At this point, I have to ask, what does it take for the One Piece reviewers to finally turn against Oda and expose One Piece for being a retconned and plot hole filled mess? Anyways, let's talk about the other stuff that happened in this chapter. Vegapunk released a transmission, and in 10 minutes, everyone is going to find out a massive secret, so the world government is trying to stop him. So at the end of the arc, all the Kurosei members appeared at the same time. And while Kizaru is still a pancake, it seems that Saturn is unable to take any injuries. Vegapunk's transmission will be released in 10 minutes. For the smartest guy alive, to have a 10-minute waiting period, well, that isn't the smartest decision because the world government has more than enough time to stop the transmission. He should have gone with like what, 2-3 minutes? That would have made a lot more sense. A counter in a manga is completely meaningless. In Dragon Ball, 5 minutes was what, 20 episodes. In JoJo, 5 seconds was like 5 minutes. And in One Piece, the 10 minutes, I hope it won't be more than 20 chapters. Like, I want this arc to end already. I mean, nothing else really happened in this chapter. The entire chapter was just people that we met in the story before gathering to hear Vegapunk's message. That was like half of the chapter. And the other half was Luffy turning Saturn and Kizaru into pancakes. This was another rant on one piece of shit. Bye!